lot of
took a
people
lot of work.
don't see. I worked for free essentially for
Sure.
6 months in the beginning.
Sure.
Try to get yourself an intern to work for free for their internship. It's impossible. Now,
Right.
I guarantee you, because I have not had interns like he had. I always wanted to have interns like him, and I always requested them, but it was never. Kids are entitled these days, you know.
Yeah,
I hate being the guy to say that.
Well,
but it's
yeah,
true.
Yeah, well, you can't deny it. I mean, you just look around. They are. But like I've applied for internships on like video game sound design teams.
Yeah.
Because I love Foley recording
Well,
and
that's
stuff
the
like
end.
that.
That's the end.
But like it's like you said, it's impossible to get in there because there's so many.
Now there are
kids
laws, and people are suing. Kids have sued. I think what resulted to that is kids have sued for labor law type of things, and according to the law, internships.
So they basically don't exist anymore?
Yeah, well, essentially, internships aren't like they used to be. You know, there's a very, very small line now. And before, I think they walked all over it back in the day.
Sure.
But now they can't because a company doesn't want to get sued, and they'd rather just use the people in-house than having to risk that.
Sure.
Thus, leaving less opportunities for people, which is sad, but it is what it is. You know, a couple of people, literally a couple of kids suing ruined it for everyone.
Well, I went, speaking of San Francisco, it was a couple of years ago. I flew out there to go to the video game convention where all the big names, Treyarch and Activision and all them, they're all there, and it's all like a hiring expo, internships to some degree. In almost every single one of my interviews, and I had 3 days of 8-hour days of just going to interviews. I wanted to work for anybody for any amount of money. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Almost every one of the interviews, they asked me if I knew anybody who worked there, and I of course did not.
Yeah.
And you could almost see on their face, no matter how well the interview was going. Like, and you had to bring a demo reel of like some recordings that you've done by yourself. And I was into composition too, but they would listen to it. They'd be impressed. As soon as I tell them that I didn't know anybody, you could almost watch their face just tell me, all right, next.
And
like,
besides that, the number one thing that I dealt with was experience. In order to get a job, they always require 2 years experience.
Sure.
And now it's even more, you know. But now sure. I could with pride say 10 years. Bow, bitch.
Yeah, for sure.
But for someone, it's like an endless cycle. Oh, you don't have experience. You can't get the experience. You're not going to. It's just not possible, I guess. So
right.
A lot of people gave up. That's nothing that I did. Obviously, I didn't give up. I'm here today, but like I said, I was blessed and lucky as fuck.
Sure.
But I put myself in those opportunities, and I legitimately love radio, and I fell in love with radio just like I have any other woman in my life or anything in my life. Just in general, I fell in love with it. And I think it's at the point now to where it's not you, it's me, radio.
You're breaking up with her.
It has nothing to do. I'm not necessarily breaking up with radio.
You just need a break.
Yeah.
You need separation.
Yeah.
Some time to yourself.
Yeah. And again, I've seen at this point you only see Chicago and Peoria. This is 2006, and then in 2009, Tic Tac got fired a year into San Francisco.
Oh man.
So I don't want to tell the full story because it's so fucking crazy. He's a madman.
Okay.
He is, and he's a creative genius, and most creative geniuses are not right.
Are crazy.
Yeah,
sure.
They're just nuts. But he set up a Gmail account called GWOmedia@gmail.com.
Okay.
Didn't know what it meant, and he's writing me from this. I don't know. It just says GWO Media is like, hi, we hear that you're one of the most exhilarating up-and-coming personalities in the country. We have a huge opportunity coming up for you. Can you please respond back, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what? So it's a questionnaire that he made.
Okay.
And he's my mentor.
Right.
Put me on.
Right.
So I'm hitting him up. I'm like, Tic Tac, what the hell is this? Have you heard of GWO Media? He's like, no. He's fucking lying to me. I didn't know. So I'm like, fuck. And there's a deadline on it.
Okay.
There's no stamp of an address or anything, number. And I got it just in the nick of time, within 1 minute, literally. And GWO Media responds. I'm like, oh, I see that you barely were able to meet this deadline. It doesn't seem like you're as hungry as we want you to be.
Sure.
It doesn't look like this opportunity is for you.
Okay.
So I respond back pissed off. Like, I took the time out of my day to blah, 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 blah. And the whole time I'm talking to TikTok, he's like, I don't know. Then, and then I get pissed, and it responds back. It's like, okay, you have passed the test. Now we need you to talk up these songs. And he makes a list of songs. It's like, bop. Like some of the dumbest poppy, idiotic songs. Talk these songs up. I'm like, TikTok. This dude wants me to talk up these songs. What should I do? Meanwhile, the stamp, he keeps adding on to the stamp.
Okay.
There's like and then it's just adding on to it, and then there's an address on it. I don't really look or whatever. I talk up the songs. Again, right before the deadline. And he responds and talks about how shitty they were, because it was shitty. I'm talking up bop, you know.
Yeah, it's hard to do.
And then I look, and then he responds back talking about how shitty. And mind you, I'm talking back and forth to TikTok. And then I look at the stamp, and there's a phone number on it. Like if you look through the emails,
sure,
consistently he's adding on to it. And
okay.
then I call the number, and it's to the White House. And I'm like, I called TikTok.
Fuck?
Yeah, exactly. And I called TikTok. What the fuck? The White House is calling. And then like, I'm not completely stupid. So he's talking, and then I'm reading, and then I'm looking. I'm like, TikTok, you son of a bitch. I find out it's him this whole time.
Oh, my God.
And then
dude.
He's like, Govia, you remember when, because he hated Peoria. He fucking hated it.
Sure.
He's like, remember when we were in Peoria, and I asked you to go to the supermarket? You got the wrong thing. What did you get? And again, I'm like, TikTok, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm pissed at him. It's like, Govia, you got me an apple, but you got me the wrong type of apple. What type of apple were you supposed to get me? I'm like, TikTok, stop the fucking game. You know, this is stupid.
Right.
Govia.
Thanks for wasting my time.
Yeah, you got me a little apple. What type of apple were you supposed to get me? There go the goosebumps again. Big apple. I'm like, shut the fuck up, Big Apple. Big Apple. He's like,
go to New York.
You need to pack your bags right now. Don't tell anyone anything. And we're flying to New York. Again, don't say anything to anyone. Do what you have to do, get the time off. We're going to New York. Long story short with that, when Howard Stern went to satellite radio,
sure.
Imagine how much, when I left Kiss FM the first time, they went downhill. Imagine when Howard Stern leaves an FM station.
Yeah.
That 92.3 K-Rock in New York completely plummeted.
Sure.
They brought in Opie and Anthony. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Yeah.
To replace Howard Stern. They're not Howard Stern.
No.
By any means.
No, they're
so
not.
92.3 K-Rock just completely just went down the hatch. CBS Radios, who owned them, what they did with 92.3 is launched it into a top 40 radio station to compete against Z100 and Hot 97. I don't know if you heard of Z100. If you have satellite, it's New York's top 40 station, kind of like their Kiss FM.
Okay.
And Hot 97 is the historic hip hop station in New York. So 92.3 is going to compete against them.
Okay.
That's what he was brought into, just like he was brought into Chicago to take over the afternoon show and Peoria to launch this new, and San Francisco to launch a country station. He's brought in to New York to be the first afternoon show on 92.3 Now in New York to launch against Z100. I had to stay quiet about it because it wasn't announced. They were fucking creeping. It was a sneak attack.
Sure.
And it was so neat. So I went out there, dude. CBS recently, actually it hasn't been recent, but shortly after my time there, went to new studios. But we were in the old CBS studios, hence the old Howard Stern studios. Do you know those studios?
Sure, absolutely.
With the, I forget the black chick's name in the
Robin.
producers. Robin in the production studio, the big ass board.
Sure.
I swear to God, goosebumps again. That's the studio we were broadcasting from for the first 3 months we were on the air. I was sitting in Howard Stern's. Robin's room was filled with like prize shit. But I just remember being, and I could show you pictures, just so surreal to be in there.
Sure.
You know?
I would imagine.
It was just so fucking cool to be there.
They had a really cool setup, though. They had to spend a lot of money setting that place up.
But at this time, sorry to cut you up, but at this time, it's already been gutted. The studio's been gutted. All they have in there is the stuff to broadcast, to make it feasible for us to broadcast.
Sure.
We had our computers, but it wasn't the.
It wasn't like
it wasn't. We had the couches. And
it wasn't like the Howard Stern show.
I actually slept on those couches.
Oh, bad
I
move.
put my face on those couches.
Bad move, bro. Dude, that's gross.
Yeah. So we were in these studios. It was just so cool. But remember, I lied to the people back in Peoria.
Sure.
I told my boss, Big D at the time, that my aunt, that my long-lost aunt from Nebraska was sick, and I had to go there. I fucking lied to him, and it was a bad lie because it was a family member thing. I just knew that was the only thing, because I had never taken time off, really.
Right.
This was a big deal. You're launching a radio station in the #1 market in the country.
They're going to know about that, I would think.
So what happened was the midday girl, she's I don't think Snapchat wasn't out, but she videoed and was like, hey, we're here with 92.3 now, going to launch this new radio station with a new afternoon show, puts the camera right on me. And I'm like, hi. And then Tic Tac didn't want to be on camera because he's ugly, but he was... But she puts it on me and posts it to her Facebook.
Okay.
Everyone saw that, including the people at Kiss FM in Peoria.
That you worked for.
My boss saw it. By the time I got back, my whole desk was cleared. Everything was gone. And they didn't fire me. Big D, I don't know who packed it up, but the GM at the time, I'm not going to mention his name at all. He brought me into his office. I was literally willing to do anything to get me to stay. And my mind was made up. I'm like, dude, I just experienced the coolest fucking thing ever to go on in my life. I'm sorry. I don't care. You could fire whoever you want. You could make me in charge. I don't care. I'm going. I'm gone. So in 2009, I willingly left Kiss FM for the first time and moved to New York City to launch this station. That's when I got into New York. And again, you started the conversation. You started in New York, huh? I did not start.
Okay. I thought I saw that on your and again, you can find him on Facebook, Instagram, Govia, Govia.
Yeah.
I thought I saw that on. There was a picture of a younger looking you from a long time ago that was outside of New York studio.
Yeah. That was in the Hamptons.
Oh, okay.
While I was in New York, I also got an opportunity to voice track a show in the Hamptons. So I was in New York City, co-hosting afternoons, doing weekends, and voice tracking a show in the Hamptons for their Top 40 radio station.
That is very cool.
Which was really neat.
Yeah.
But
the Hamptons.
The Hamptons.
The Hamptons.
I remember, I'm so stupid. The girl I was dating at the time, I'm like, so I got another opportunity. She thought it was cool. We all thought it was cool as fuck. I was in New York. I got a chance to have a show in the Hamptons. Like, I thought Hampton Inn. Like, I'm stupid. I'm not rich. You know, I don't fucking know anything about the Hampton. Right. She's like, what?
Yeah.
She like, well, are you serious? Like, she
that is badass.
ASU alum, you know, dad's in oil industry. Like,
sure.
She knows what's good. I didn't. And she was like, are you fucking serious? That's awesome. And I'm like, what?
Why?
Yeah. And I go, then I know.
Yeah.
I finally visited. I don't know how much time we have, but I got fired in New York City after about 10 months. I left Peoria. I remember I hosed Kiss FM. I told them I was not going to come back.
And I would imagine that it would be hard to come back not only to them, but to any other radio station around because, I mean, like we said, Peoria is kind of a small, niche-y, you know,
They all knew.
They all knew everybody.
And the chat forums were talking mad shit about me. They were just, it was not good. It was just not good. So in my head, I was like, fuck, I can't go back to Peoria, but I have this night gig or this gig in the Hamptons that doesn't have a program director. It's like the redheaded stepchild station.
Right.
Because the demo out there is 35 and up because it's money. You know, they're all rich fuckers that you don't have a place in the Hamptons till you're like really
you're doing
rich.
Good.
Or there are locals there, obviously. So I hit them up. The guy that was the GM was actually the guy that was my GM in Peoria when it first started. I hit him up. I was like, New York didn't really work out. I talked back to the program director, and I got cocky. You know, it's not Peoria. Fuck. how about I just come to the Hamptons and program the radio station full time there instead? He was like, that's fine, but we don't have any more budget for you. So